Should we start?
Yeah.
All right. Uh, so, Ayushi and so I'm Kshitij, and I, along with Ayushi, we are going to present on healthcare and economy. So, Ayushi, can you please change the slide? So, I'm going to talk about care economy. So, Ayushi, can you change the slide? Right. When we talk about the care economy, we really need to understand what entails care work. Care work, according to the International Labour Organization, it is basically it consists activities and relations which involve meeting the physical, psychological, and emotional needs of adults and children, old and young, frail and able-bodied. Care workers include a wide range of workers. It could be university professors, doctors, and dentists at one end of the spectrum, and at the same time, it can also include child care workers, uh, personal care workers, at the other end of spectrum. Uh, Care workers can also include domestic work. Now, the reason I'm looking at the economy because it is very vital for India's economic revival after like COVID-19, and at the same time, it is also very vital for its key stakeholders. India's GDP growth contracted by around 12% in 2020-21, which means that the economy needs a revival strategy. So, to ensure the inequalities of the past, they do not reoccur. This revival strategy basically needs to be inclusive and fast-paced. And one of the areas that promises to be both is the care economy. And one of the first steps to undertake is the identification of care workers in India. So that leads us to understand who are the key stakeholders in this area. Aisha, can you change the slide? So the key stakeholders include the healthcare workers, like the Anganwadi workers, the ASHA workers, etc., the domestic workers, the childcare workers, the doctors, the professors, etc. Now, for any society and the economy to survive and thrive, uh, care work, both paid and unpaid, is extremely essential. And at the same time, it needs to be looked at with a policy lens. Now, apart from being necessary for day-to-day activities, care economy is also a very huge employer. The sector offers a serious growth potential. Now, not only does the paid care work sector employ a large proportion of India's population, especially women, but given that India will soon become an aging country in the times to come, the requirement of care work, especially personal, domestic, and healthcare work, will increase drastically, which will employ a large area of employment. So a lot of people will be going in this job. Uh, so as already mentioned that most paid care workers are women and girls, they also cater to most of the unpaid care work. Uh, so so women in future will not only be encouraged to work in the care economy, but easy access to care work will allow more women who were previously burdened with unpaid care work. They will be who were forced to leave the paid work. They will get a chance to rejoin the labor force. Aisha, can you change the slide? Yeah. Now the policy paper will further look at the basic questions with respect to care economy in the country, and it will try to answer these three questions as to who are the care workers, what role do they play in the Indian economy, and what exactly is the government doing about them. So yeah, that's all for my part, and now I'll request Ayushi to take over.
Thank you, Kshitij. Now I'll talk about healthcare gig economy. So I'll briefly introduce what is a healthcare gig. Gig economy is a model by companies such as Uber or Zomato that uses freelance workers in short-term contracting to supplement full-time staff. And gig is seen in healthcare sector as well. which is emerging. For example, nurses are hired on contractual jobs, especially in COVID-19, and logistic companies providing equipment for vaccines are also hired on contractual basis. As healthcare consumption continues to grow and percentage of millennials that make up the workforce rises and they are health conscious, the trend towards temporary workers are not going to slow down anytime soon. So, with this, the major policy debates in healthcare gig economy are: first is the new style of employment. This model has both merits and demerits. So, government is facing dilemma to fit in a gig economy worker into a traditional employment law parameters to weigh its risk and reward. The second is no permanent job in gig economy. After studying so hard to become a doctor, they just want to settle fast and don't want any risk. So temporary job might be a problem for many in the healthcare industry. Next is lack of minimum wage. As there is no provision of minimum wages for the worker in the gig economy, it all depends upon the economies of demand and supply of laborers, the wage. The last is the more independence and freedom to choose when and where to work. It is a positive factor of gig, but as the employees can join anytime and can earn extra income. The next is the research questions on which I'll be writing my policy paper. So first is, what are the reasons for gig economy in the healthcare sector in India, or the factors that affect the gig in healthcare sector? Is it shortages of employees? For instance, the US is expected to see a shortage of 40,000 to 1 lakh 4,000 physicians by 2030. Or it, is it increased healthcare consumption? So, what are the specific factors? We need to find that out. Second is, how does healthcare gig affects the employment? As gig is temporary employment, so will it decrease the unemployment rate or increase the seasonal unemployment rate? Is what needs to be estimated. And the third is gig in the healthcare sector better than traditional healthcare system for the economy? So for employees, it might be a good system to earn some extra money, and for patients, they might easily get themselves diagnosed on mobile apps, which are also a part of this system. But it might create a problem of digital divide in the economy. So this is also needs to be taken care of. Uh, Lastly, I would like to share my motivation behind this topic, which was to understand the new dynamics of gig economy in the healthcare sector, which is emerging and has a future prospect, and it affects the economy both positively and negatively. So, for the future policy, it is important to learn about this new system. With this, I would like to end our presentation. Thank you. And if you have any questions, you can ask.
Thank you,